gorilla, but it goes so fast. All tied up like a captive. I'm on to you. Used to pay to my mom life, standing on rainbows, playing it cool. I don't felt this in ages, and I've no more patience. So won't you please stay a bit longer? You're making me stronger, making me stronger. Stay a bit longer. You're making me stronger, making me stronger. You're stronger.
Good evening, everyone. It's Thursday, and it's a rookies, and we are here with 21 drivers for the Pro IM class, because in this season there are 2 classes. Some things never change, which one of those is me, still on the commentary booth, Cristian Romano for you all, and obviously all our partners, including the new partner of the season, which I can't speak anymore, which is ACELITH Design, that will provide an €80 prize for the winner of the season. And plus, if you want a little discount, you can join the FRL Discord, because you will have a little discount on your purchases. Obviously, there is already a CCTV that is really struggling to stay with me. Okay, at least now it works. You can see there is the personal delta and the personal best and the personal delta. But obviously for whoever is new, the situation is simple. Here are the rookie drivers, and simply put, into the FRL community, you have okay. You have I would say a license. It's the right word. You have a license where your pace is classified, and thus there are 4 different tiers. Here are the Pro IM, and the IM are in another server. So theoretically, these ones are the fastest rookies, which is a thing. And obviously, now I need to do this, okay. And obviously, the race will be probably pretty clean, because otherwise you get banned. No, obviously, it's not that fast. But anyway, thanks obviously to all our sponsors. You can see all down in the HUD of your screen, which may be the telephone, the computer, the tablet, Tesla, the video, the little LCD you have in the Tesla, I don't know, space drones, whatever you want to use. Practically like Doom that can be played everywhere. And especially Steam stuff, you can see on the right the QR code that basically let you have a perfectly working league, and just ask them and you will have a little league of your own, completely managed. But anyway, qualifying session, obviously the first lap is usually the banger lap, which means that it doesn't really mean anything. Usually the pro here run, it depends which pro we are talking about, because the top of world class here lap in 40 30.67. The mid pros, so a little behind, is basically low 31, 41.4, I guess it's the correct time. And speaking of 41.4, obviously I'm speaking about race pace. Sorry, I didn't effectively mention. And I think we will see some 42. In qualifying, it's going to be 6 tenths slower, more or less, 6 to 8. It defines a lot how the drivers behave in qualifying. Like, for example, me, I think a rock standing is quicker than me in qualifying. But some drivers are quicker in the qualifying session than the race. And we are here with some good amount of cars. We have an Honda, an Audi, an Aston in the first 3 places, and then a Porsche in 5th, 6th there is a McLaren, then the first Ferrari is just in 8th place with 11th place. The lonely Lexus, and then the BMW in 14th place with only a Mercedes in 19th for now. But obviously the times will come as the time passes. You can see on the left of your screen, less than 10 minutes to go. We were here with Karasanovic that was setting a good lap, but I think the pole lap will go again because it's a personal best and an overall best for the Swedish driver Ilke Zerman. You can see on the right, on the very right part of your screen, there is the little driver etiquette, which tell you the number, the position, the flag, the car that they are driving, and then the last lap with the sectors. To next is just used for race, which is not the case for now. But anyway, there is Zerman that is already putting the field in a bit of a difficult place, as Robbie Robstra goes in 2nd place, less than 4 tenths behind the pole sitter that managed to get just two purple sectors, because the first one went to Smith in the Aston Martin by literally 3 milliseconds, so it's very tight. You can see now the column on the left is basically all green. All the times that are green are improvements. There is just one time that is not an improvement, and is Sauter because he went off track, but it's Zerman. You can see from the splitter cam that he has a Ferrari in front. I'm not entirely sure who that is. I think it is Thompson. It is indeed Thompson, 9th place and number 55, and effectively ruined the pole lap for Zerman because he was improving a lot, but unfortunately the dirty air made him struggle in the very final part of the lap. But a very interesting improvement may be made by the Honda driver 66 with a white Honda. Not entirely sure why. I remind you all that the liveries are synced half an hour before the race, so if they are white, it's not my fault. But Karasanovic goes in 3rd. I can't count anymore. In 3rd place, couple milliseconds, 75 milliseconds more than 5 tenths. And currently, it seems like Zerman is going to have a clean night. Nearly 4 tenths is the gap, and it was a 41.1 improvement and overall best in all the sectors, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd by a margin even. So for now the situation is really going into the Swedish driver. Still a couple of drivers that are improving. I'm seeing, I didn't pick him on time, but it was Hungary improving. I'm in 11th place. Now for now we will see just a couple of drivers that are still on track and maybe making an improvement, since it's the halfway. So usually the drivers go into the pits, change the tires, and put slightly less fuel, theoretically. But anyway, it has to be said that there is a fit where you need to change, you need to put fuel, and all the races this season will be 60 minutes of time, all of them. Not a single one will be a double header, as Kasanovic simply put an exact same time to Robbie Robstra, except the first one had the advantage of a more rubber track, so he will go in third place. Real life rule applies, where if you set the time later on, you have the advantage of the track, so you get the lower position. There is already Timothy Jabudal in this McLaren, in the military green McLaren. There is already improving 2/10 on his time, but there is also Zerman that is already setting green Delta. Apparently it's not enough for him. But Jabudal will go with him with a ride to the splitter. This track is phenomenal. The S here is possibly the most difficult part to nail, because if you get it correctly, it's game on. If you get it wrongfully, you lose up to 3 attempts, which is not really the low amount that you want to see. Now in the downhill part, I think it's maybe not, to be honest. And then there is this little corner that will come now. Usually you do it in second or first, depending on the car and on the setup. And then the right corner of death, because the yellow sausage on the right really gives some cars the wings. And then Ingwe, last corner, turn number 16, which gives you into the finish line. And also 5th place for not sure which nationality he is, so I will just go with the McLaren driver. There is Borsari, or Borsari, I have no clue in this moment, but there is also German that makes another improvement, 41, nearly flat, 0.05, and nearly 5 times of gap between him and all the opponents behind. So I guess I really think that he will have a very pleasant time, as need this one here, as Borsari is still in 4th, and I think we lost someone. Yeah, Robbie Robinson is not in the lobby anymore, and he was in 2nd. If he makes it on time, he has 3 minutes of time to make it, otherwise he will be classified as DNS. There is Karasanovic improving, and still Zerman improving. This man is just setting lap times after lap times, and each one of them is just faster. She's very good. Well, the Audi here is possibly the fastest car, I think. I think the Audi here is really the fastest car, thanks to the bop and to the fact that this track really suits the car. I think the Porsche is maybe slightly faster, but the Porsche is obviously a bit more difficult to tame. Not that the Audi is any easier. Oh, it's an off track. Yeah, no improvement this time. The rare of track. So we'll go with Smith, the Englishman, in the McLaren. The Mercedes McLaren livery. Very old style. I would have liked if he would have put his name, like in the old times where the livery wasn't really legal, so they put, instead of West, they put Kimi, and it was Mika Koplainen. I think it was very long time ago, and I wasn't even born, I think. No, it was 2006 I was born already. I think it was 2006. Oh no, I'm terrible in the history of Formula 1. But anyway, Smith stays in 4th. There are some improvements. There is Woodward making 3 times in still the Porsche, still the same number, still the same car, the same driver, the same tracks. Because the tracks are slightly different. Anyway, he is the one that is improving the most. No, never mind what I said, because there is Sylvester improving a lot in the McLaren 887 Alpha second. That would put him in a very high position. I think it's possibly the sixth position. No, seventh. Seventh position. In fact, it's eighth. Apparently, I'm great in guessing. In eighth place, Silvestri. And then there is Woodward still improving. I'm seeing a couple of drivers that are improving quite a bit. But Woodward lost everything in the very last sector, and in fact it's not an improvement, and he will stay in sixth. While Borsari, no, I think it's Borsari. Yeah, it's definitely Borsari. Is setting a good improvement. There's also Smith setting a good improvement. One after the other, as Zerman and Karasanovic will go to the pits because the qualifying is effectively over. Smith is not going to improve that much, but I think it's enough to keep the position because Borsari is surely going to improve. But same goes for Smith, that goes in second place. And then Borsari that stays in fourth. Bit unexpected, considering initially he was really into a very good position. I think a mistake happened in the very last sector, while Ercolani is going to get maybe a couple of positions, because just a 10th would mean 10th place, as Woodward went off track, so it's qualifying over, and I think the only one that effectively has a chance to improve is Ercolani, even if there is Rob Strabeck. There is Rob Strabeck, so third place for Rob, and then everyone goes back a place, just in time for the Dutch driver in the Ferrari. For now, for Mr. Ercolani, best lap was a 42.3, and everyone is just waiting for him. That with his rate, he will go in 10th place. Very good time for him compared to what he did earlier on. As a matter of fact, it is an improvement of 4 tenths that will give him the 10th place, as initially mentioned. So this was the qualifying for the round number 1 of 7, sponsored by ACELITH Design, and there are 3 minutes to go to the start, while I just have to go this way here and this way out. And I think I just think that it will be the case. I hope it happens, because I asked for it, but I guess, well, I think the pole sitter will or will not. It depends of whether he wants or doesn't want to get an interview, because since, well, for this season I want to implement this little thing, but I don't know his name on Discord, so I'm not entirely sure how to pick him. But anyway, this was the qualifying for the round number 1. Okay, for now, round number 1, there is a very good chunk of different cars in the very first places. There are, let me see, there are 4 different manufacturers in the top 4 and 5 different in the top no, there are 6 different in the top 7, sorry. With a very different selection of cars. There is the Audi in first, an Aston Martin in second and fifth, with a Ferrari in third, Honda in fourth, and a McLaren in sixth, Woodward with a Porsche in 7th place. A very different set of cars. So now that it is a bit of a moment, I just have to make sure that everything goes correctly. So I will put this one here. You are now seeing the change in your left column, even if I think this one here is a bit too much. But anyway, round number 1, obviously it's all everything is to being picked up. Lot of points, and there is also the prize pool that I already mentioned earlier on, 80 euros by actually design for the winner of the championship. Okay. And obviously there is still the discount for everyone that joins the FRL Discord, but obviously every link and every information is in the description, plus there is all the sponsor in the bottom part of your screen, and the SimStuff QR code that you can make a photo and frame it and take it home. But anyway, I don't know how much time is remaining. Not this one, not this one, not this one. I can't see it because there is no time anymore. That's why it's a correct way. But anyhow, I needed it. Anyhow, we'll go with a little lap with the pole sitter. I think we can go. I need this one here from the interior cam. You can see it is turn 1. So number 1 is usually a very cool hotspot. You can see 3 wide into this corner. It's quite usual to see a 3 wide in the very start of the race, and 3 wide means that this little section afterwards, turn 3 and 4, are a bit of a struggle point, and then there is barbecue, turn number 5, a very interesting one for the line that you need to take from the outside all the way into the inside, and you don't have to really cut the curb because you can unsettle the car. It's just enough to just get close to the curb, and then there is sunset. I think it's the most famous corner of the most famous turn of the track. This long right-hander, usually in 4th gear, and then all the way here you brake on the marker on the right, which is the end of the curb, the red-white curb. All the way in 2nd, you utilize everything that is on outside. Grass comprehensive, because the grass here is not really impactful. And then the SS 8 and 9th turn, you really need to be aggressive on the curbs, even if they are quite high, but it's really not a problem if you set your dampers correctly, as the cars may jump a bit. It's possibly the case for the Ferrari, not so much for Audi and Aston, and maybe the Honda is, well, the Honda struggles a bit there. And then the hairpin here is a very cool one, because your braking spot is blind. You can't really take a braking spot because you can see it, and usually you brake. I usually brake in between 2 markers, but I can't really see because I don't have a reference point. Possibly some other drivers have other references. I usually use the white markers on the track, and then here you just saw it, the 100 meters marker. You brake there. Maybe it was the 150. I wasn't looking, to be honest. But anyway, in the white marker, I think it was the 150. It's not the 100. In the 150 marker, you brake, and then you go all the way in 2nd or 1st, and then the death machine, which is Cheetah, turn by 15. If you are too close to the inside, you become an airplane. If you are too wide, you become a tractor into the gravel. And then the last corner, which is Ingue, turn number 16, which is usually theater of some incidents and crashes, because sometimes people are a bit too greedy, as there is already Maggioli, the first starting from the pit. But it's now time for the first start of the season, number 6, for the rookie, Pro IM. And it's green light, and away we go with a very perfect start by the leader. A terrible start by the Aston Martin driver. That is now already in 4th place. It's a 3 wide into turn 1. Will it be the same? It's a 3 wide. Oh, little contact between the Aston and the Ferrari. With the Aston, it was trying the best possible. Huge crash behind. A couple of drivers being involved, but we will stay here as the McLaren driver is trying to get a position out of the Aston. It is indeed Borsari that gets into the inside and makes the position, because the McLaren just went a couple of centimeters wide. But the McLaren has the inside on sunset number 6. And in fact, as a matter of fact, oh, no contact, it's the Porsche that really goes very close to the rear bumper of the car in front and loses a place, maybe two. It's just one for Woodward, as Tiabuk has to stay on the outside and we have the difficult line. So there will not be an overtake for now, as you saw on the distance there were a couple of drivers being involved in an incident in turn number 1. We will see it just after. There is now, there is Silvestri going for the move on the Italian, the McLaren driver on the Aston driver. You can see side by side, but I think this time from the splitter you can see that, as a matter of fact, it is Silvestri behind. Oh, little mistake there. Misses the apex. No, not really. It was just a mistake on entry. Nothing to worry too much about. But this is Thompson very close. Oh, we can see from the wing. Oh, there is a bit of a gravel trap for Thompson on the Ferrari, but stays in 11th place with Bro just behind as Zerman crosses the first finish line of the series. Another situation is very close between these two drivers. I think a position may be done. Not here. Not here. Oh, never mind what I said, because there is effectively a position change. It is Mark GG against Mihai, and the McLaren stays in front there. No problem whatsoever. Oh, side by side instead. There is a contact between them with Aston Martin driver that went for the overtake. And now you can see Aston Martin is in front. As a matter of fact, what's happening in front is Robstra being very close to the car in front, but I think we can see the change of position and little bit of contact between a couple of cars that happened just behind. You can see they were four wide, and then a McLaren a bit too greedy with an Aston being involved. There was another Aston. I don't recall who that was. It was Blake being involved, but I don't know who the other car was. There was a blue Aston, and I think it was Hungary. As a matter of fact, it was Hungary getting involved in the incident. And now, speaking of the same blue Aston, there is the overtake for now between two. Oh, I heard the gravel. I don't know who that was. I don't think there is too much to worry about, as no one is still into the wall. And for now, 21 drivers that were very clean in the very initial stage of the race, but obviously everything may fall apart the second I say it. For now, Robertson is very close to the car in front. It is Robbie Robertson in the Ferrari 85 with Karasanovic in the 66 Honda, just in front. Last lap was in favor of the Ferrari driver and the Dutchman. Remember that the drivers. Oh wait, I can let you see it. It's not really a big deal, as I can go here and change it to position delta. You can see it's not what I selected. This is what I wanted. Okay. You can see already an improvement of 2 positions by the Honda driver, while Smith fall by 2, and there is Roberts just in the middle of the sandwich. Then every other driver behind is not in the starting position anymore. So just 2 exceptions to this rule. But you can see now the Ferrari, how close the distance is between the Ferrari and the Honda. The Dutchman is following very closely. The Ferrari is a very odd car to deal with. The Honda misses the apex quite a bit. And the Ferrari may have the chance, not obviously for the overtake, but at least to get closer. Again, apex being missed by the second place driver. I think the pressure is being applied heavily by the Ferrari. As Herman in this moment is just a fastest lap machine. Wonder if he needs to be banned from the rookie season just because he's just too quick at this point. With already a 2.4 seconds gap in 2 laps, 3 effectively. It's effectively 3 because I didn't consider the first at the beginning. As there is a little overtake behind. It is Bro. Oh, this Bro already off into the gravel with Mihai and Ercolani being in a bit of a chase there for position. Bro fall apart. Now in 16th place. We can see what happened there. Now we... Okay, we can. From the helicam, you can see the Ferrari was in front. Touch the curbs. And flies off into the gravel. So already we have the first effective head-to-head of the evening with the Englishman that was just in the wrong position, as there is now the overtake for Liam Thompson in the Ferrari 55 that goes into Garrini's position, and now the Italian has to stay behind because the Porsche can't really make anything into the slipstream of a Ferrari unless the outbreak is real. As a matter of fact, it happens, but there was the temptation to do it, but not the space to make it, and the Porsche stays behind. Speaking of Porsche, the best one is in 8th place, and then there is this pack here. It's a very nice pack. You can see the Aston Martin goes out of the slipstream, and the Italian wants the position number 5, side by side into turn number 1, with Aston in front now. It's possible the overtake is already being done, and the Aston stays in front with the McLaren that was trying the switcheroo, but it doesn't happen as the Aston really defends well against Timothy Jabudal. Bit of grass being picked up, but nothing too much to worry about. And the Aston stays in front, just by a tiny bit. You can see how close they were, but nevertheless, I think the McLaren has this. The sunset was really in the McLaren's favor, but brakes very early. As I said, you can brake on the start of the curb, not the end, sorry. The start of the curb. Well, I wanted to say the end of the concrete and the start of the curb, and apparently I just did a mix and nothing really came out of it. What time is the leader doing? It is doing... he is doing a 41.6. It was the last lap, but I think now there will be another improvement, because the track surface is getting better and better, and the drivers are getting less and less fuel in the car, are having less and less fuel in the car. So for now, 41.6 for the leader, 42.1 is just the personal best being set by the Honda driver in second place, with a 42.4 by Lobstra in third, and then basically the pace is around the 43 for the whole field, while Zerman just did another personal best and the fastest lap, as there is a, oh, double yellow, oh, there is Aston Martin in the middle of the track. Not really sure what happened there. I want to see exactly how it happened, with Mihai now being in the middle of the track. Oh, and the gravel went, touched on the barrier, and there was the Aston there. I think it was Blake really being very close to the 17. For a moment I said McLaren, I don't know why I'm keeping saying McLaren instead of Aston Martin. Apparently my mind is being set to say McLaren for some reasons. But a very last moment dodge by the Aston driver that really put all the problems on the car now in the pits number 17, you can see. And the pit is mandatory, but there is the pit window, so this one will not count for 17 driver. Meanwhile, Tiabuk, Thompson and Woodward are in a little fight. Should be rookies. Yes, I agree massively. 41.5 is usually mid-pro race pace. Source, I am the mid-pro that does mid-41s. But the Aston Martin is now very close to the rear of the Porsche. You can see how close by the splitter cam. And the Porsche will have a very hard time in the very straight, because the Aston is very quick in a straight. The Porsche not so much. Luckily this straight here really gives you not too much to play with, as there is a little bit of overtake there. It's Blake and GG are still fighting for position, with the Aston 64 still in front for the McLaren 989. Seems like the Honda behind the leader is waking up. 41.8 being set. Not so far from the leader that set at 41.6. And there is also Smith, very fast, 41.8. So I guess the pace, unless the leader is trying to get slower to get better lifespan on the tires, while you saw Blake going into the grass and thus losing the position on the McLaren, now in front of the 64 Aston Martin. But I guess there will be the revenge act for the Englishman. There will not be any revenge act for position, and as a matter of fact the 64 stays behind. I just want to know if the audio volume are alright, because I think they are. If maybe I have to just raise a couple of bit everything. Oh, so gravel, that was a lot of gravel. This was Sauter going into the gravel. So Sauter going straight, we can see from the instant replay. We can see from the splitter what happened as Zerman made another fastest lap. Oh, he completely missed the braking zone. Didn't touch, no car, nor the barrier. Very close moment for Sauter in the Lexus, the only Lexus on track. And meanwhile, speaking of very close, it's the 999 that has to defend against two cars. Maybe from the wing we can see. Oh, there is a contact. Never mind what I was about to say. I thought the Porsche was already behind, and it was really a touch between the two drivers. We can see straight back what happened from the situation. The Porsche really closes the door and gives us no room to play with. And Seabuk is now still in 9th, behind Woodward, with Thompson very far behind. Maybe trying to not get into a fight too much, and thus losing a couple of times on the duo that is now 8 times in front. Live, as here he's still the battle against Astons. 41.2 is a very staggering lap. I don't know how much fuel they have. I guess not much. But 41.2 is a very good lap nevertheless. It's definitely pro level. So I don't know how much of a rookie he is, to be honest. Number 277, Luca Borsari, still behind, lapping quite nicely. Even if Smith was clearly slower in the last lap, 42.7 and 42.2, when this lap is completely the opposite. Meanwhile, there's been Thompson overtaking Seabuk. Not entirely sure how it happened. I think it was a mistake. It was indeed a mistake. Sausage curb, nearly flying off into the distance, and it's just a position being lost by the Aston. So not so much to cry about, even because a position is definitely better to be lost than the entire car altogether. 45 minutes to go, 15 just being done. It was a very clear race until now. With there is an Audi here. It's Simone Maggioli in 18th place and number 9, making the move on the inside on Stewart in the 96. It is 17th position for the Italian driver. He's now going to reach for Sauter in 16th place. But anyway, I guess that until now it was a very pleasant race. Lap times are still trying to follow a line, which I'm not entirely sure which one it is, because there are very different times all the way into the field. We have, apart from these couple of drivers that made a terrible lap, but because there was the contact between Seabuk and Woodward, there is the leader still setting 41, mid 41s. Oh, yellow flag. There is Blake. There is Blake not really having a good time there. I want to see back exactly how. From the interior cam, you can see he didn't turn, and he didn't crash either. just lost the car, and Blake is really having the race of his life until now, because he's the main protagonist of his race. Like, he had to avoid everything and everyone, and he's been involved in every single replay so far, for a reason or another. So really Blake is not really having a boring race, for now, and still he didn't die, so I guess it's worthy. On the minimap you can already see the fact that the leader is ahead of everyone. 6.3 seconds is the gap between Zerman and Karasanovic, and at this point it's just a domination at this very point. 9 laps being set, being completed, and 6 seconds already on the time clock. It's a very astonishing pace in comparison to the others. While there is a fight for 4th place between Astons, still the same one, but I think this time the Italian has the advantage of position because he is on the inside and makes the position number 4, which means that just has to stay behind without further answer or response, better to be said. And with a little mistake by the Italian driver, but nevertheless, not too much being lost. Even if now I think Smith will try the best possible to get into 4th place. Maybe a dive bomb, maybe not. And in fact it does happen. It doesn't happen for now. So we'll get back into... Oh no, okay, I don't think the cameraman is really giving me any pleasure with the positioning. Okay, this is definitely better at this point. I kinda hate the fact that this happens, but anyway, not really a problem and not really an issue. While the triplets here still fighting for the same make position. So at this point I'm really interested to see how the pit will go along, because obviously the pit is mandatory, and Maggiore is not on track anymore. Yellow flag for the Audi driver. Can I see how it happened? Oh, a bit wide in turn number 4, and then sitting in the middle of the track with all the drivers taking a different approach to turn number 5 at barbecue. But again, no damage. I'm quite astonished, to be honest, that everyone is behaving correctly, considering a couple of rounds that happened in the past. But possibly it's also the slightly lower number, because we had to split the drivers. There were just too many for a single server, and this is the Pro IM and the IM class. So for now it's been quite a pleasant race. See, a couple of fights ongoing. There is also Ercolani trying to join the fight for 8th, so at this point there is a train that is about to grow. 43.1 being set by the Italian, and effectively the pace it's not really that better for the three drivers. 43.2, 0.4, and 44.1. That's how. So I really think that Ercolani didn't set a... Oh no, he was effectively in 10th place. I think he was the car that was into the barrier at the very beginning. Maybe I tagged the wrong Aston Martin, because there are two Aston Martin with the same livery, and I'll be honest, I may have made a mistake. Robstra set the personal best, 41.9, but still very far from the leader. But nevertheless, half a second quicker than Karasanovic in 2nd place. Same goes for the McLaren in 13th place, set a 43.0 as the personal best in this very lap. So I think a couple of drivers still have to get used to the car and to the settings. And meanwhile, Woodward is still trying to create a gap between himself. Oh, Thompson is off! Thompson off into the barrier! In the distance, we were with with Woodward in the wing. But now Thompson is already into the pits. I think it was indeed the yellow sausage and directly into the barrier. So already a pit that basically translates into an undercut by Thompson plus damages. I suppose it's going to be 10 seconds of damage. So couple of spots, well, more than a couple of spots that will be lost by the British driver. Now in the pits. So the fight is effectively for 13th place with an Aston in front and Ferrari in between with the Lexus completing the train. That's for 13th place, as the battle in front is, I won't say over, but more like there is a little bit of a gap that has been created by the drivers, also prior to the pit stops. Okay, there's a tiny bit the volume, so now it should be better to be heard. But anyway, the Lexus now on the outside, because the hairpin is on the left, and the Ferrari that has to defend, but it may be an overtake from the outside. It is indeed an overtake from the outside with the Lexus very good on traction and stability, and as a matter of fact, the Ferrari is now in 15th place, with Silvestri going into the pits as the first of so something happened. Okay, I need to hear. So car stuck in 4th. Not really sure what happened there, but he's now into the pits. And so the pits in the pits there are now 2 drivers, but we'll go with a little lap by Zerman because now it's a bit of a moment where there are no changes in positioning. So we'll go, well, never mind what I said, because there is Ercolani very close to the car in front. Speaking of the fight between that's for 8. Remember that is for 8th place is standing. That may become quickly 7th place if the pit stops go smoothly. And Silvestri is now out in 20th place, and Thompson is still in the pits. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. I couldn't really hear the reasoning. I saw the gearbox was not really working with the driver, so I guess it's effectively a technical issue for him as he goes out of the pits. Okay, so whatever it was, it has been resolved. That's for sure, but it was a very odd one. Apart from the fact that he went in the pits twice, so I'm really struggling. Oh no, it was Brov, sorry. It was Brov that went into the pits. Oh, no, I made a great mistake. Apologies for the switch. Just very odd everything. But anyway, James Williams, number 41, very close to the 15th position in the car. Mercedes 96. For the new viewers, I think you will get used to the fact that I'm very distracted, so I may misremember numbers. It's not like I don't see things, it's just that I remember wrongfully. And now I don't remember anymore who was the car that basically shut off in the middle of the straight. And I'll be honest, there is a yellow flag. Okay, no, never mind. There was a yellow flag because Javidal went into the pits. So every time the race control is giving me a airtake, every single time there is a yellow flag. But there is a lot of damage. Wait, I think there was a yellow flag for a reason. Let me see if I can pick it. Maybe it was here. You can see there are no damage on the car. So there was effectively a hit of some kind. It's now going... Oh, that's why he went into the barrier! He went into the barrier. That was a yellow flag for some reason. Javidal went into the barrier just as he went out of the out of Cheetah, and that's why the damage. And now I click the replay back. Okay, so that's a lot of damage being repaired. It was just 10 seconds. I thought more. I really thought way more, considering basically the direct hit into the barrier, and it comes out in 17th place, just in front of Bro. Even because Thompson had a 30-second. He made 2 stops. So at this point, I'm not really sure what to think. But anyway, now Robbie Robsa. While we were talking about what was happening behind, there is the fight for position. It is the number 2, so the middle spot of the podium. Now that the leader is effectively in no man's land, 12-13 seconds ahead. Car number 85, Ferrari driver from the Dutch nation. This sentence doesn't make any sense, as the robots are very close to the rear bumper of the Honda in front. But the Honda just as tiny bit more as GG goes into the pits. I think Blake made a mistake because I'm seeing him dropping. That's why he went into the pits. And Robs are now in 3rd place. So pit entry for GG, Blake and Stewart. And I think now is the time to put this little graphic, which is the pit stops being made. One mandatory pit stop for all the drivers that has to be made. And I think we'll see one of the 2 drivers here going into the pits earlier than the other. As bro this time. Oh, yellow flag after Cheetah. I wonder if it was for a crash into the barrier or he managed to stay out. Obviously it was again the curb. Is the rear being lost, but no contact on the wall. Just a lot of... just in front of the leader even. Just in front of the leader too. Smith is now into the pits. Camera number 990. Trying the undercut on the cars in front of him. And effectively the last laps weren't that great compared to the surrounding cars. Now Smith will be effectively, if everything goes smoothly, the first. It will be virtually first because it will be the only one in the pits, and the better positioned driver with pit stop being made. And Roberts is still very close. I think this battle here is very interesting, with a 42.5 being set by the Dutchman and the Honda in 42.4. As Smith comes out in 9th, while Sauter joins the pit lane. The pit lane club. I think this battle will have to stop for the pit one moment or another. Definitely not because it's mandatory. If I remember correctly, this is the pit window that will close in 9 minutes as the leader goes into the pits just after the halftime, and obviously he doesn't need to adjust any tactic while the Ferrari goes from the undercut. Rabirovstra into the pits, so I guess this time will be a hell of a in lap for Armin Karasanovic, now leader of the race. But obviously not the effective leader, while here there is a fight between James Williams and Paolo Hongari. No, never mind what I said. Paolo Hongari is now into the grass. We know the BMW in front. Hongari, remember that he was sent into the barrier at the very first, at the very second turn. As a 155 now has to defend against an Audi, a very angry Audi that wants to make as many positions as possible, considering the little half spin that happened in barbecue. And from the wing, it's clear. I think we'll go into the pits to also repair the damage. So that's, if he doesn't repair the damage, it's okay. But if he also repairs the damage, I don't understand why he didn't go into the pits earlier. But anyway, Smith was okay. This is extremely odd. Why is German so close to Smith? Remember, Smith was a lot of seconds. Oh, that's why. That's clearly why. Smith didn't change the tires, just fuel into the car, while German also had some damage. 8 seconds of damage for the Audi driver, the 60. Very odd, a very odd pit. A good amount of cars that didn't change the tires, and I'm not sure if the strategy pays off of not changing tires, because, well, it may pay off, obviously. We'll see. I think German went for a bit of a safe tactic, considering that he had 12 years of advantage. Now it will be interesting. Even Karasanovic goes for the change of tires. Now the 60 is effectively back into the lead of the race. I just need to see something here from. I need this one here and this one here. Okay, everything is under control, I promise. Okay, yes, I was correct. I forgot to say that effectively there is no mandatory tire change, so the tactics here may differ a lot from driver to driver. German opted for a change of tires, while Smith clearly didn't. 17 seconds being gained as GG is into yellow flag. Seems like the car has been lost, but not the race. As you can see, the sky is darkening a lot. It's again the yellow curb. It's again the rear deciding that the track is overrated and going for a little rally into the gravel, but nothing too much to worry about. Obviously, I have to keep track of all the pits. For now, it's a very mixed field. Stewart just pitted for 11 seconds. So I really think that he went for the long run. And Stewart will probably have the benefit of a couple of positions being gained. This is also Sauter that did the same, 13 seconds of pit. 18 seconds for Guerrini, and just 9 for Bro. So basically he went into the pits, spoke to his engineer and went out, while all the other drivers seem to have made the usual pit, with Maggiore that had a lot of damage. Apparently I didn't see. 1:17 was his pit stop. But he was... Okay, this is odd. So, he was in the pit lane for 5 seconds. Because the game is probably... Okay, Maggiore is the driver that started from the pits. That's why it's still saying that he made a pit stop, because he effectively started from the pits. But anyway, still no pit being made, as you can see from the left of your screen. Smajory is in 10th place with 0 pit stop being made. The same goes for Williams. Same goes for Smith is showing without a pit. And I can assure you that he made it. So I guess sometimes the graphic really wants to joke about everything. But the fight here is still on. I wonder if at this point some drivers unless we'll try to go until the very end. Well, there is a bit of a fight here between a Ferrari and the Aston. Bro and Mihai into the S with the Aston in front. Oh, contact between the drivers, and Silverstone and Bro far off, with definitely a lot of damage for the Ferrari driver. You can see there was already a little contact between the two drivers, and then I think the McLaren driver really wanted to try everything and went terribly wrong for Bro, with a lot of damage for the Ferrari driver. So now it's definitely happy for the British driver in 17th place. We Silvestri that will possibly regain the position in Alpha second, because Bro is with a lot of suspension damage too. You can see the front end being completely destroyed. There is now Williams out of the pits. 14 seconds speed for Williams, so even there there is no change of tires. So a lot of drivers going for the no change. In the first spots, there aren't a lot of drivers. There are just 3 drivers in the front that didn't change the tires. Zerman that changed the tires. Zerman, Karasanovic and Robstra all changed the tires, while Swift didn't. And he will be the one to follow to see if the strategy really works. And there is Maggioli still without a pit. Jabudal that made the change of tires. Guarini and Sauter and Williams Stewart that didn't change the tires. Okay, at this point it's completely useless, this graphic, because it's really not showing anything of useful importance. Okay. Then there is Mihai that changes the tires, Silvestri that changes and repairs the car, Hungary that changed the tires, and Thompson that changed the tires, with Blake that did a lot more, with a minute and a half into the pits. So I definitely missed a huge contact into the barrier by the Aston Martin driver, while Thiabok is fighting with Woodward and Thiabok that didn't make the pit yet. Side by side between the two drivers, with a portion inside, with Aston on the outside, Thiabok on outside, Woodward still maintaining the position number 2 effectively. But after the pits, I'm not entirely sure which one it will be, as the Aston understands that going into the pits is quicker than staying behind Woodward, that now is in 2nd place and stays there. Obviously, even this graphic is not really entirely useful, so I will just put the nationality. As there is Luca Borsari in 1st, Woodward in 2nd, Ercolani in 3rd, and Zerman goes now in 4th place. And theoretically, virtually in 1st, but obviously after the pit I'm not entirely sure, as Smith still is in 5th. I really think that Smith gamble may pay off. It wasn't really a gamble, it was normal strategy. 5 seconds of Thiabok really went for something radical, with a little contact between the Ferrari of Robbie Robstra and the Aston Martin on the outside. Oh, major contact between the two drivers, and buffer out into the gravel. There was already a contact between the drivers in turn number 1, you can see. You can see how it happened, little jump on the curb by the Ferrari. And Aston that was really defending the inside. That went straight on into a contact. So the amazing strategy of just pitting for 5 mere seconds is thrown out of the window. So basically he put fuel for the entirety of the race, and it was paying off a lot. I think no, you can be side by side, you can't close the inside that much because the curb is not rideable. That's a thing, but obviously many of them are rookies and don't know this yet, but obviously with experience you understand where you can and where you can't overtake, or where you can overtake knowing that the opponent can't make anything because it will be too impactful, like little cheeky strategies to defend yourself. And after the pits, we have a new leader. Luca Borsari, that didn't change the tires, is now the leader of the race with 10 seconds to up on his shoulders. 10.3 seconds to German, that is flying behind him. 42.4. It's a bit of a slow lap by German. I don't exactly know why he isn't lapping that quick anymore. I wonder if he tried to go for the opposite of a strategy, is just chilling around and kinda hit himself by doing it, while still Robbie Robstra and the Aston Martin Siabuk still with the fight. I guess some damage for both drivers. I think they have lost, they have literally lost 10 seconds. For 52.1 was the lap being set by Robinson, and I'm taking him as a reference point because usually it's 42 and he made a 52. Well, Siabuk was out of the pit, so it's not really countable as a comparison tool. But Siabuk will have to stay alert because I think the Ferrari will be quite angry at the fact that there was a takeout. I need to see. It's nearly 7 o'clock. And you can see how darkening the sky is becoming with the Ferrari on the outside, trying to get the front of the car next to the Aston 951. Ferrari tries the inside. Oh! Huge dive bomb into the inside, and the position has been done in the very last corner. It was a very interesting one with a contact too. Guess there has been also a contact, so we'll see the replay after. Because I think the Aston wants to do the same dive bomb on turn number 1. On the outside it goes. It tries the inside, but clearly the Ferrari understands it. They're still side by side, and now they position are opposite way, with Aston understanding that the same thing can't happen again. Oh, the Aston Martin really doesn't want it to be over. Robbie Robstra in front has a better tires simply because he changed them, and so I don't think the Aston can really make a lot more than what he already made. The overtake was basically written to be made because of the tire advantage by this driver here, the Dutchman. Now 13 seconds behind Karasanovic. It would have been 3 but /4 if it wasn't for the contact. Zerman made another mistake. There is an off track. Wonder if it was. No, it wasn't really impactful. But again, 42.2 is not really quick. I think he made it. He made a mistake in pits, and as you said, it's not really. It seems like the pressure went off in the pit. And now there are 8 seconds, so Borsari may have the lead and the win if he can just maintain it. While Smith's idea seems to be working as he is in 5th, but Karasanovic is very close. He was 4th prior to the pit stops. Now he is in third. Because effectively he made 10 seconds more than Borsari. That made 5 seconds more than Tsiabuk. Obviously there is the choice of going for low fuel and setting faster lap times. But it has to work. You need to make 3 tenths per lap. Which aren't a lot. But if you can't make those 3 tenths per lap, because the refuel takes 3 tenths per liter. If you can't make those 3 tenths, not it's right, it's 3 tenths per liter. So you need to make a lot more. There is a driver not okay, no, he was just lagging a bit. You need to make basically a second per lap. So I'm not entirely sure why the tactic of pitting with 30 minutes of fuel was chosen. But anyway, now we are here with James Williams that has to defend against a McLaren, a very hungry McLaren in 14th place to defend the 13th. While behind this said McLaren there is also an Aston Martin. Not really a surprise to say Aston Martin in this race. But anyway, McLaren side by side with the BMW that is defending from the outside, so a bit of an odd idea, but seems to be working because effectively he went into the outside for the hairpin and Aston Martin makes it into the inside and both drivers manage to avoid it. Oh, never mind what to say, the BMW is off! And McLaren has been hit with some damage being taken by both drivers. Williams still sitting in the middle of the track. It was... Oh, there is a Woodward coming across with Kyalami just behind. Kyalami now is in 5th place. There has also been a contact between the two drivers. You can see the contact. You can see the Honda on the inside. Oh, you can see, as a matter of fact, there was a bit of contact because the Honda tried to get on the inside as much as possible. And thus went a bit off line. Remember, Smith was with all tires, so I don't think there will be any response by the 990 that is theoretically in 4th place still. So the idea was good, but never mind because Smith is trying the inside on Kalastanovic. They were very close, and Kalastanovic is off. Clearly not happy driver there. There was a mistake being done by the Honda driver. The Aston tried the inside with the Honda closing even more. And then, seems like the car was lost all of a sudden. Possibly trying to brake. Remember, the Honda is very sensitive to braking. And sometimes can throw you off the bridge. And seems like Kalastanovic found out how what happens when you stress the car on brakes. And speaking of leader, these two drivers won't be the leader in any possible way because they both need to pit, and the Borsari is with a bit more than them, which makes him the effective leader, obviously. And I suppose the two drivers here will go into 7th, 8th place, more or less. I wonder if they will make space for Borsari, because effectively the battle between them is not with Borsari. But they don't have to. There are no blue flags. There is just common sense in this moment, and Borsari has to make the position, except he is in the lead, and Zerman is 6 seconds behind. And I don't think Kyalami will make too much defense against the fellow Italian that in fact goes into the inside and manages to get a position into number 1. We're now leaving Woodward as okay, he put the indicator. I think it's already being set for Zerman. Well, there is a little bit of a fight here. It's Mark GG going into 14th place. There's been a contact between two drivers. It's 9 and 17. There's been, well, not one, but multiple contacts. You can see they were side by side. There was a first contact, and then a second one, but the position was being done nevertheless. And now, that's way more than a bit of a contact. And the Aston is off. And again, I think we have to see the replay between these two drivers. I think they are not happy between each other. The Aston was with a bit of a poor restart from the hairpin. And then the Aston has been sent into the barrier the very second the McLaren was behind. Now you can see, oh, there's the Mercedes off there in the distance. 96 not really having a good time. You can see back how it happened. I know a lot of replays are not exactly good, but oh, that's the rear that was lost in Cheetah. Quite odd, to be honest, quite odd. Because usually you don't really lose the rear on entry in the Mercedes. Meanwhile, 55 and 60 had the contact for... Oh, there was a very tiny bit of contact between the 55 being driven by Neil Thompson and Ilka Zerman with a Porsche. He's trying to defend outside, which I don't think it's a good idea considering that it's not for position, this one here. And Woodward goes now in second. There is Marjorie with... is it? Okay, that's a lot of penalties being applied. We'll go for it after the race. I'm not entirely sure why the pit is happening. Because there is no drive-through, no stop and go. Nothing at all. Ah, because he needs to make the pit, obviously. I forgot that he still needs to make it. And now Ercolani is effectively very closely... Oh, yellow flag for Mihai, sitting in the middle of the straight with a couple of drivers that were passing across. And again, Mihai being involved in some incident. Is it... Okay, it has been made by himself, a bit too greedy on the curb, and then finding himself very close to the barrier. And not really a great race by the Aston Martin driver in 17th car, in 17th place. And... Oh, Karasanovic with yellow flags! Karasanovic with yellow flags for some reasons. Is it again the same corner of every time? It is indeed the curb, it is the gravel, but no barrier for a very tiny amount of meters. It was extremely close between him and the barrier. Remember that they have to pit. The pit is mandatory, nevertheless. They have to pit sometime around. And I'm quite sure that Zerman is now very close to Borsari, even if the pressure were clearly not okay, and even if he changed the tires, there is now a very tiny gap between the leader and the second place driver. Between Zerman, 0.5 seconds, well 6. Of difference. And that Zerman has the fastest lap. Remember that there are prizes for this series. And there is also the 3% discount for whoever uses the link in the FRL Discord. Be sure to join it while Ercolani finally goes into the pits. And I think Woodward is just waiting for the very final lap. And if we are not focused enough, we will see him going still around after the finish line with his rhythm. But I think he's effectively the last one that has to pit. And it is indeed the Porsche, the last car that needs to pit. It's quite obvious that the tactic in this moment is 60 minutes with the same car and just pitting for a couple of seconds. 9 seconds for Kyalami, so still a bit too much in comparison to the shortest one, 5 seconds. And Zerman will be quite angry at Woodward for existing, I'm quite sure, because Zerman has new tires and made the pit and has the lead very closely, but with his pace I don't think it will happen. 4 seconds of difference between Zerman and Borsari, with Woodward being a bit of a wall in between, while Javodal and Siabuk didn't change the tires. Javodal that did, but Siabuk was also being involved in an incident with Rob Stra now in 6th place. So even here, it is the same situation, except one is for position and one is not. And Woodward still, I won't say defending, but it's clear that the gap is now terribly going downhill for Zerman. 5 seconds. And now there is also the defending from Siabuk. He's trying whatever is possible to defend the 8th place with all tires. So effectively trying to get the car as wide as possible, using even the legs if it's needed. For now, nothing happens as Woodward is finally into the pits, and I think Zerman will be quite angry at both himself and the Porsche driver. Is now out of the pits in 6th place. Remember that he was fighting with Kyalami, and Kyalami is 5 seconds behind, and that's because Woodward made a 6 seconds pit stop, so a very short one, and managed to get a bit of a gap between him and Kyalami, 4 seconds behind, thanks to the tactic. So now this leaves everything in Javodal's hands to try to get a position. 2 laps to go. So I really think that this time Zerman made a bit of a blunder in the pits, because he was winning easily. Next to oh, okay, you can hear it. But anyway, Javodal is very close to the car in front, which is the Aston, with a tiny bit of damage. You can see how close they are. There are just a couple of meters between them. Not even a car length of distance. Aston Martin sitting in the middle of the apex. As Jeff informs us that there is the white flag sponsored by ACELITH Design. I should make a graphic like in NASCAR. Luckily we have no overtime. And every yellow flag is just a full course yellow. But anyway, this is a discussion for further endurances. Well, the Aston is still sitting on the apex, still defending, but at this point I think this McLaren wants to get into the inside. The Aston Martin basically makes a home for himself with some wood and some nails, creates a shed and goes into over the apex and creates a house there from which he was sitting there stationary. Well, obviously to his defense he is trying everything possible to defend the position. I would have done the same, if even worse. And for whoever has raced me, I can do worse. I can create a building entirely in the apex if it's needed. In this case we have the same home being created on the apex, with Javodal very keen on defending. Javodal very keen on attacking, while we have the last 10 seconds with Luca Borsari. Is going to complete the final round, the first round, the final lap of the first round of the rookie season number 6 in first place, and wins the race with Zerman with the fastest lap, but just in second place in the number 60, And Smith 17 seconds behind, but for now we'll go back here with the position change maybe between the McLaren and Aston, very close until it's possible. Into turn number 13, the Crocodiles. Then there is going to be 14 and then 15, Cheetah. Still, that is very close. Oh, the Aston is slightly off track into the gravel a tiny bit on the apex. The same moment. Oh, contact between two drivers, and I think the McLaren has been waiting for the Aston in a good sportsmanship behavior. But you obviously can see the incident between two drivers, obviously nothing on purpose. The Aston was just creating a home and a family in the apex. And the McLaren was just in a hurry. But then completes in 9th place behind his rival with Maggioli. Simone Maggioli in 10th place. We'll come across and conclude the race in the top 10 after the early half spin with Alessandro Guerrini, the 707 Porsche, and Sauter that completes the race just behind his very fancy Lexus, nearly losing the year on the very final corner too. And then there is Silvestri in 887 with Gigi in the other McLaren in 14th place, with Hungary effectively concluding the race without repairing the damage too, and effectively concludes the race with, oh, there are some penalties that has been applied. There is Robstra with a 15, so Robstra goes in 7th place, 15 seconds of penalty. There is GG with 10, Silvestri with 15, and Mihai with 10 seconds. So effectively the top has slightly changed, with Robstra now in 7th. He was in 5th, and all the race went into the result went in a bit of pieces, as he is now in 7th, and Hungary gaining 13th place in front of both the McLarens. So G maintaining the position after all. And then Mihai with a 10. But anyway, this was race number 1. And I will wait a tiny bit here to see if there is the winner that will come here for a brief interview about the race. So I will wait just a couple of minutes to be sure. It was definitely a great race to be seen, and this was the first of the 7 rounds that will go all around the world. We have Kyalami. Next round is going to be Zolder, then Alton Park, okay, Kota, finally Snetterton for 230 minute race. The same goes for Zolder. So I read wrongfully. I don't know why earlier on I said there were just 60-minute races. I want to say that the pit is just for the 60 minutes races. There is Kota with 2. Well, every even number is a double race. So Zolder, Kota, and Monza will be double header. Kyalami that just happened. Alton Park, Snetterton, and Hungaroring will be only one round in a 60-minute race. I'm not seeing any Luca Borsari in close proximity of my commentary box, so I don't think he will come here for any interview. But anyway, this was the race for tonight. I hope everyone had a good race. I will still wait a couple of seconds. So, if so, I will just. No, okay. We have someone that will get here. We have Ilke Zerman, possibly. Just waiting in case. But anyway, the season is going to be quite full of drivers and racing. I expect in the very near future, considering the numbers, that the two servers will be glued together. In my opinion, it's possible that this will happen. And so we'll see some great racing with 40 drivers, all in the rookies. And tomorrow there is the Pure Sim Gear GT3, which uses but uses is a bit of a wrong term, but races with the best driver in FRL. It's going to be possibly a nice Kyalami. But anyway, this was the race for tonight, as I don't think anyone is coming for the commentary. And I will see you tomorrow for the Pure Sim Gear. And if you're just interested about the rookie, I will see you next week. And if you want to race, there is the 4 hour of Brands Hatch, and I will be driving in a Porsche. Woohoo. So be sure to check it out too this Saturday. But anyway, this is it for tonight, and I will see you all next time. Bye!